What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best, and in today's video I want to bring you something that should be pretty fun. So real quick background on this video, I was scrolling Twitter the other day and I came across a tweet that said something to the effect of the worst tier list I have probably ever seen, and it was a screenshot of somebody from Reddit who made a tier list ranking characters based on how honest or gimmicky they thought the characters were. I'm not gonna lie, I also think the tier list is pretty whack, and we might do a separate video dedicated for that, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, yo, I should do a video about this. And then I started thinking, I was like, you know, I never use Reddit. Like, I've never really been on Reddit because it just seemed like an awful place that I didn't really want to venture into. But I started to think about, it might make for an interesting video, interesting content to go scroll through the Dragon Ball FighterZ subreddit, see if there's anything interesting to watch, react to, converse about, whatever. And so I quickly headed on over to it and I skimmed through it. And then I found something that caught my eye and I was like, you know what? That's what I want my video to be about. So move on over here to the other monitor. You can see I found this alignment chart that somebody made that ranks the characters and plots them based on ease of use and ease of mastery, right? Easy to learn long-term, hard to learn long-term, easy to pick up, hard to pick up. And there's a lot of things here I agree with. There's a lot of things that I disagree with, but I thought it would make for an interesting video for me to make a chart like this myself. And so that's exactly what we're gonna do here today. So if we move on over here, you can see we're now on tier maker. I have easy to pick up, difficult to pick up, easy to master, difficult to master. And I'm basically going to plot these characters on a chart and kind of see how I feel they should be placed in my own personal opinion. Now, that being said, this is just my own personal opinion based on my own knowledge and my experience. And obviously there's probably some things that I may not be aware of that you guys might have some knowledge on that, you know, might have you have a different set of opinion. If you do, that's perfectly fine. Also, let me quickly go ahead and give a shout out to Random Aussie 26, because that is the Reddit user who originally posted their chart and inspired this video. So props and credit to them. So let's just dive right in without wasting any more time. And I think the best way to probably start with this is by placing a character in each of the quadrants and then start placing other characters around them. I think that'll be the best way to go. And I think the first character that I want to place is probably Goku Black, because I feel like Goku Black is one of those characters that is very easy to pick up and very easy to master. Moving on, if we pick a character that I think is easy to pick up but difficult to master, I would say probably Trunks. I think Trunks is a character that, you know, he has the universal B&B that you can use, you know, 2M, 5M, you jump cancel, you do light, medium, light, or medium, light, light, so on and so forth, right? You can play him with some very simple basic mechanics and whatnot, but I think Trunks is obviously a character that requires some execution, some higher level knowledge and skill in order to actually master the character, use the EX flips both in neutral and in mix-ups and in combos and whatnot. And he's not the most difficult character in the game. I think there are characters who are harder for sure, but I think he's up there. This can be subject to change. I might move some stuff around as we go on, but I think I like this to start things off. Then if we go to the bottom left quadrant, we have a character that's easy to master but difficult to pick up. There is a character that I have in mind that I think fits very well in that lower left quadrant of like easy to master but kind of difficult to pick up. I'm not sure how many of you guys are going to agree with this, but the character I want to put down here is Hit. Now let me explain, okay? I think there's going to be differing perspectives on this, obviously, right? Everyone's going to have their own opinion. I'm trying to approach this from the perspective of somebody who is maybe new to fighting games, or at the very least new to Dragon Ball FighterZ. And I think compared to a lot of other characters in the game, Hit is a little bit weirder to pick up. I know that for myself personally, when Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, even though I thought Hit was really cool, he's not a character that I touched very much in the beginning of the game because he was a little bit different and weird with like the stance canceling and whatnot. And I just feel like he's one of those characters that, like, while he's not necessarily hard to master once you figure him out, because I think once you've figured out kind of how he ticks, everything else just kind of clicks. He is a bit more difficult for a beginner player to pick up, and that's kind of how I'm looking at this and I'm approaching this chart when I'm posting these characters. So even though that still may not make you agree with me, I just hope that there's some level of understanding there of that, you know, that's why I would put him here, you know what I mean? Likewise, there's another character who I think is going to go over in this quadrant, and I kind of want to put them here right away, even before we move on to our next character, just because we're on that same exact vein, that same exact line of thinking. And this one's probably going to be one of the most controversial characters that I post on the chart, and that is Labcoat Android 21. Now, I think this character is as easy as it gets to master. However, I think for brand new players, right, she can be a little bit weird and finicky to figure out, just because some of the things about her are just a bit different, like the multi-hitting normals, using the OTG, especially because it's not something that a ton of other characters have. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that Labcoat is a difficult character. She is not. And I feel like maybe I should even move her up a tiny bit more, you know what I'm saying? But if you compare her to a character like Goku Black or Trunks or a Bardock or a UI Goku, right? Those are characters that somebody's gonna be able to just pick up right away, just start mashing buttons and figure things out. Whereas even though Android 21 Lab Coat is a very, very, very powerful character and is very, very easy to master, I think when you're brand new to the game, she's gonna be a bit weirder for some players to figure out than other characters in this game. So if you want to disagree with that, then feel free. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Anyway, moving on with difficult to master and difficult to pick up. I kind of want to say Master Roshi. I don't know if I think Master Roshi is like the hardest character in the game, but he is definitely one of the much weirder and different characters in this game. He's got different tools. He doesn't have super jump float. He doesn't have a traditional super dash. You have to angle the beam. You know what I'm saying? His combo routes are very different. He's got different inputs than some other characters have, just because of him having, like, you know, 2-2L, for example. Not to say other characters don't have stuff like that, but I just feel like he's definitely one of the more difficult characters. And I think that's a big reason, aside of him just being Roshi and him being lame. I think his weirdness and his difference from the rest of the cast is one of the reasons why he's not as popular and is so underexplored, because I'm of the belief and opinion that Roshi is actually a character with a lot of untapped potential in the game, but you don't really see it because he's weird, he's different, and a lot of people aren't willing to put in the time and the effort to master that character. Now from here, I'm probably going to start picking characters from the pool at random, or maybe not necessarily at random, but putting them in places where I feel confident that they should go, and then again moving characters around as we move forward. I think the next character I want to pick up is probably Bardock, who is obviously extremely easy to pick up, right? One of the easiest characters in the game to pick up and play, but he is a little bit more difficult, I would say, than a character like Goku Black, right? Obviously he's got some stuff to him. I just feel like his regular combos and B&Bs just take a little bit more effort than like what Goku Black is doing. I feel like mid-screen Goku Black isn't doing anything that's too complicated, whereas Bardock has got kind of like little re-jump stuff, whatever, like using the medium lariat. And you know, and when you start talking about optimization of combos and things like that, a lot of characters can start sliding over to the right side, right? Because if you're mastering any character, things are gonna get more complicated, more detailed, more in depth or whatever. But Bardock, obviously far from the hardest character in the game. I would probably just personally say that he's a little bit harder than Goku Black to master. Next up, I think Adult Gohan is one of those characters where he's pretty easy to pick up, but very difficult to master. So he's gonna go somewhere around here with Trunks, I would say. He's probably just as hard, if not harder to master than Trunks is, in my opinion. I'm gonna go ahead and slide him all the way to the right for now, and I think I'll comfortably leave him right there. Moving on, we have another character that I think I want to move down here to the difficult to master, difficult to pick up tier, and that's Majin Buu. I think Majin Buu, another very weird character and a difficult character for sure. Is he harder or easier than Roshi? I don't really know, but I think I'm going to put him right about here. Up next, I want to put Majin 21 on this list, and I am of the belief and of the opinion that Android 21 Majin is actually a very easy character to pick up and is pretty easy to master, but maybe a little bit harder than Goku Black by a tiny bit, just because she's got, you know, just some stuff with like the steals and everything like that takes a little bit more work and effort, and obviously more difficult to master than Bardock, I would say. Android 18 is a character that I think probably goes somewhere around here with Majin 21. They're probably on the same level to me. I think what I'll do is I'll move 21 over here right under Bardock, and then 18 you can go, is she more difficult? I'd say she's slightly more difficult to pick up than Majin 21, just because Majin 21 you can do some of the basic stuff, and like I guess with 18 you can as well, but you got to start incorporating 17 into the combos and whatnot. And even though that's not super hard, I would say it's probably harder off rip than like doing Majin 21's B&Bs is. So I think I'll put her right about here. Moving on, we're gonna go ahead and put base Vegeta right over here with another character. I think he's like pretty easy to pick up, but harder to master. Yeah, obviously he's not the hardest character in the game, but I do think he is pretty difficult. I kind of want to put him maybe right around here-ish. Yeah, because I think you can play base Vegeta very, very simply, but obviously again, once you start getting into some of the combos and the mix-up and whatnot, it takes a little bit of execution. He's one of the more difficult characters in the game. Definitely not the hardest, but one of the more difficult characters, in my opinion. I think next, I kind of want to pick Videl. I think Videl is a character that's more difficult to master than a lot of characters in the game. You know what? Actually, right here in the middle might be perfect for her. Or is she closer to the right side? I feel like she's probably closer to the right side, like the more I think about it. They've made her a lot easier at this point, so maybe not. I think she probably goes somewhere in this upper right quadrant, in my opinion. She's a lot easier now than she used to be with some of the changes that she made. So I'm gonna go ahead and put her somewhere around here. That might change with some time, but I think for now, I feel okay putting her right there. I think there's a handful of other characters we can go ahead and very easily place them, just because I think we have a consensus opinion probably of where they should go. Vegito goes somewhere up here with Goku Black and Bardock. I don't really think that's much, you know, of an argument or question or debate. I'm gonna go ahead and just move these around just a tiny little bit. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta goes right up here as well. Is he difficult compared to Bardock? Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this because I think Bardock is actually a harder character to play than Gogeta, even though Gogeta is basically just a better version of Bardock. The other thing that's hard about a chart like this is that obviously the more characters you start trying to place, you start having to scoot things around without, because you don't want the pictures to overlap too much, right? But now I'm starting to move Bardock more to the difficult to master side than I really want to, because I don't think he's that hard to master compared to like these characters. So I guess I got to start moving some of these over, just because I feel like, you know, I got to keep it in line. You know what I'm saying? UI Goku goes somewhere around here. I want to say super easy character to pick up, pretty easy to master. Super Saiyan Goku obviously goes up here as well. Is Super Saiyan Goku probably the easiest character? I don't know. Is he? I mean, he's just as easy as Goku Black to pick up. Is he harder to master? Maybe. Super Saiyan Goku got bombos, but they're not really hard to do for the most part. He's probably like on par with Goku Black, but you know, just again, for the sake of like just having everything, you know, just be observed. Yeah, this is the hard part about it, because I feel like it probably should go something like this, but it's just like, you know, getting everything to be in a good spot is just going to be harder than I want it to be. But you know what I'm saying, right? I think I feel good about that. We got Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, who I think is also still pretty easy to master. But he is a bit weirder to pick up than some of the other fusions, just because, again, multi-hitting normals and things like that, his combo routes are a little bit different. So I would say in terms of difficult to master, I still don't think he's particularly hard to master, but he is harder than the other fusions. Again, from the perspective of like a newer player, right? So I think what I want to do is, again, move the androids over a little bit, move him maybe about here-ish. Maybe he goes under Bardock and I'll leave the androids here. Maybe 18 can be moved just back just a touch. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. Blue Goku, I think, is another one of those characters that's pretty easy to pick up for the most part. Maybe not quite as easy as those three. So I put him a little bit lower, but it's still kind of hard to master. Maybe on the same level as Videl in terms of like difficult to master. Super Saiyan Vegeta is pretty easy to pick up and master. I feel like he goes somewhere around here as well. He could also be in contention for probably easiest character in the game to play. Base Goku definitely goes in the easy pickup, but more difficult to master tier, in my opinion. Maybe I put him right about here, or maybe right above Blue Goku. I'll put him right above Blue Goku for now. I think Android 16 is probably pretty easy to pick up, pretty easy to master. I'm gonna go ahead and put 16 maybe somewhere right around here. Kid Buu, I think, is pretty easy to master, but he is a bit weird with some of his normals and stuff at the start. So I'll probably put him somewhere around here, maybe move him over a little bit more. I think probably somewhere around there. Low-key, I feel like maybe Blue Gogeta needs to be moved down just a tiny bit more based off the same reasoning that I gave for like Lab Coat 21, where like his combos aren't as orthodox in the multi-hitting normals and everything. Like I said, he is harder, I think, than like Vegito or Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta or like any of the Gokus and whatnot. So I'm gonna bring him down a little bit and move 16 up a little bit. Maybe they're on about the same level. Again, let me just move this stuff over a little bit, just to make some space here. And I think I feel better about that. I think Baby is a relatively easy to pick up, easy to master character in the game. Harder than some others, but not too hard. Kind of want to put him somewhere around. Actually, if we're talking like master, because he's got like the, you know, the extra assist calls and everything, and like all the stuff with the key blasts. And I'm gonna put him here for now, actually. Right above Majin 21. That's subject to change, but like I said, by the time you're watching this video, I've probably already changed 100 things in my head, but it just is what it is. The problem I'm having that I see the more that this goes on is that I feel like a ton of characters actually go up here in this left quadrant and like just trying to slot them in and make the right amount of space, not have someone too far to the right or to the left, or too far up or down. Is the issue I'm having, because I feel like overall Dragon Ball FighterZ is a very, you know, casual friendly game. It's got a very low floor, you know, it's supposed to be very accessible. So I don't feel like too many characters get too far down or too far to the right. And so there's a lot of characters I want to put up there in the left. But obviously they gotta go somewhere. So I'm gonna have to start spreading these out a little bit more. But what I'll probably do is like spread them out more once I've got more of the characters on here and I could see more of where I feel like they comfortably belong. I'd probably put Beerus somewhere around here. I don't think he's too hard to get the hang of. He's a bit weird just because like J2H obviously being different than like a lot of the other characters who can simply do that. Is he harder to master than Baby? That's definitely a conversation to be had there. The more I do this, the more I want to start bringing some of these characters over, because I feel like, actually I'm tripping. Gogeta shouldn't be this far to the right either. He should be like, even if he's harder to pick up, he's not hard to master at all. But I feel like he probably belongs better over here I can move some of this stuff over. Okay. Like I said, the more this goes along, the better I'm gonna feel about it. But it's gonna take some rearranging. And honestly, UI Goku's a little bit too low for my liking. I gotta bring him up some. Like I said, there's just a lot of characters I feel like go up here. Teen Gohan might be a bit weird at first, you know what I'm saying? And a bit hard to master. I'm gonna say Teen Gohan probably goes. They've also made that character way easier than ever before. I'm gonna say he probably goes here though. Maybe I move Android 18 up because I think she's easier to pick up than Teen Gohan. But I think Teen Gohan's probably easier to master. Then we have Frieza, who's a really weird character all around. I think Frieza might be the character who goes here in the middle. Because he's a zoner in a game that doesn't really have zoners like that. Obviously, he's got some weird normals and stuff. And he's got like the double hitting 2M, and obviously he's got like the teleport thing, and then the golden Frieza, so he's got an install. So, you know, while I don't think he's by any stretch of the imagination the hardest character, he's up there. And honestly, maybe if we talk about mastery though, he might stay on the middle line, but he might be harder than Videl. Actually, yeah, maybe I put him somewhere around here. Cell is the character I think is really, really easy to master, so he probably goes somewhere over here. Android 17 I think is easy to pick up, but when it comes to the mastery, using the records and everything properly instead of just throwing it out willy-nilly and actually using it for not only neutral but anti-airing mix-ups, everything like that. Like, you can just spam records willy-nilly, but I'm thinking about like actually mastering it. I think there is some skill to that. Is it harder than Teen Gohan? I'm gonna say it is. I kind of want to put 17 and 18 around the same caliber of like, they're strong characters. They seem like they're super easy. And that's another thing too, is that like people's opinions on this are going to differ a lot, because like if you're a seasoned fighting game player or you've been playing Dragon Ball for a long time, you're gonna be like, man, that character not hard, or that character's dumb easy, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like Lab Coat. If you've been playing Dragon Ball FighterZ since 2018, yeah, Lab Coat's gonna be really easy for you to pick up and play and start dominating with because of her strengths and everything like that. But again, trying to think about this from the perspective of somebody who's brand new to the game, and maybe somebody who isn't that great of a fighting game player in the first place. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm trying to approach this. So I just want that to be kept in mind. That being said, I think Zamasu is another weird character who I'm probably going to put somewhere around here. I think Nappa is another character who probably goes somewhere. Maybe we move Frieza and Zamasu over more, you know what I'm saying? And we move Nappa somewhere like, somewhere like here. Don't think Tien is a very difficult character at all. I'm going to move him about here. Janemba is difficult to pick up and difficult to master IMO, at least for somebody who's like brand new. But is he harder than Nappa to pick up for a brand new player? I would probably say Nappa's the harder character for a brand new player to pick up. I don't know, it's debatable. I'm gonna leave them somewhere around like that for the moment. But, you know, I think Krillin probably goes somewhere up here. I think Krillin is really, really easy to pick up, but he can get pretty tricky the more you learn about that character. I think I actually want to put him somewhere around here. But wait, is he that much harder than like base Goku, Blue Goku, Videl? When you start doing like the Ki Blast stuff and everything like that, I'd say he gets pretty hard relative to some of the other characters. I think we got to start moving some stuff over is what it really comes down to. Just let me cook. Some stuff is going to start getting rearranged, and we're going to spread this out a little bit more. Maybe I bring Krillin back just a touch. I think Z Broly is another character who might go somewhere around here. He's really, really easy to master, but he might be a bit weird for like new players at the very start. But I think he's very easy for players to master. I'm gonna put him maybe right there above Lab Coat. We're gonna move Hit and 21 down just to make that a little bit easier to see. We're actually just gonna move them all the way down just so that's easy to read, and move Frieza up for the same reason. Ginyu, I think a character easy to pick up, difficult to master. Obviously Ginyu calls, takes some memorization, everything like that. Easier than it looks, but it could definitely be overwhelming for a newer player. For that reason, is he harder than Videl? I think for now I'll leave him here. Or actually, he probably goes higher up here in terms of like easy to pick up, but then when it comes to mastery, he's somewhere around here, Maybe him and Videl are like closer on the same level, actually, in my opinion. In terms of difficulty to master, it's debatable about which one is more so, but I'm gonna leave it like this for the moment. Kefla I'm gonna put right up here by Bardock. I'm gonna move Beerus and Baby over some. Jiren I think goes somewhere about here. We're gonna move Kid Buu over. I think Jiren isn't the hardest character to pick up, but some of his stuff isn't as universal as like other characters, so we're gonna put him here, but I think he's like a really easy character to master. I feel like GT Goku goes in a very similar spot. Maybe we start moving 17 and Gohan over, right? Maybe put GT Goku right here. Is he harder than Kid Buu? I would say so. You know, getting the Spirit Bomb combos and like properly using reverse Kame, which Like you can just abuse reverse Kame in a very stupid way. But again, I'm talking about mastery, not necessarily just doing well with the character. I mean like actually mastering what the character can do and is supposed to do. You know what I mean? So I think I put him above Kid Buu in terms of difficulty for that reason. And obviously not having access to like a regular J2H and everything like that just makes them a bit different characters. So that's going to be a common trend you're seeing here, if you haven't noticed it by now, is that characters that have a more unorthodox J2H and the way you extend their combos isn't like part of like the universal way. Like if you can't do the universal B&B, then you qualify as a slightly more difficult character to pick up, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I think I want to move Janemba and Zamasu down more. Maybe we move Roshi down. We move Roshi all the way down here to the bottom. We move Buu. We move Zamasu somewhere around here. Janemba somewhere around here. Actually, I feel like Janemba and Zamasu need to be switched. They could both probably stand to be moved over some more. Okay, the more we're doing this, the more I feel like I need to move some characters down. So we're going to drag down Hip, Broly, 21. Bring Kid Buu down some. GT Goku down some. Teen Gohan, 17. Just to kind of free up some more space up here. Maybe I bring Hip more this way, actually. EBS Broly might go here. Cooler probably goes here below Kid Buu. Actually, maybe he goes above Kid Buu, the more I think about it. I'm gonna move 16 over, and then I'm gonna move Blue Vegeta right here. Yamcha, I'm gonna put here. Gotenks, I think, is actually one of the more difficult characters to master, even though he's pretty easy to pick up. So I'm gonna probably put him probably on par with Trunks, but maybe even harder. Just because Ghost Oki is not something that everyone can do just because of the negative edge and everything. You know, they've made a lot of things about Gotenks a lot easier. I do still consider him one of the harder characters in the game, which is why even when he was still really good, you didn't see as many people play him, because he was, you know, he took more effort. And then last but not least, I think Piccolo probably goes somewhere around maybe here, but I want to swap him in 18. I think he can be a bit weird himself. Okay, I think what I have to do now is think about this a little bit and spread things out a little bit more so that it's not as cluttered, especially up there in the top left corner, because I don't want it to seem like there's such a huge gap between some of these characters and other characters are closer together. So we're going to spread this out just a little bit more, just so it's easier to see and you know, figure out, and then I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. I actually spent a decent amount of time here. It's funny because in the middle of this, I had to go and make another video, which you guys saw before this at this point, the Hunter video, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a lot going on, but I did spend like maybe 30 to 40 minutes like tweaking this a tiny little bit. You can see we made some noticeable changes with where characters were placed here. And I'm sure if I spent more, like the longer I sit here and look at it, the more changes I would want to make. But I think at some point I gotta call it quits and just say, okay, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I think. And I think I feel okay for now. I'm sure by the time I post this, I won't, but you know what I'm saying? I think this is pretty good. I think this is pretty good. I like the way this looks, and I think we're gonna leave it at that. I'm probably gonna end up posting this on Twitter, see how people think, feel, and react, but I definitely want to know your guys' reactions in the comments down below. What do you think? How are you feeling? What would you change? But yeah, I think for the most part, that's pretty much right. Like most of the Saiyans are very easy to pick up, very easy to master. You get into some more unorthodox characters like Baby, 21 with the steals, Beerus, Videl, Ginyu, 18 with the 17 calls and stuff, Ginyu with the Ginyu Force calls, characters that have like hard loops or like hard to execute mix-ups, you know, like EX flips, or Gohan with all the stuff that he can do with the more levels and stuff you have, Gotenks with Ghost Oki, really weird characters like Buu, Roshi, Janemba can get kind of weird, Nappa's a bit different, you know what I'm saying, Zamasu as well. I think for the most part, I think this looks pretty good. I think this looks pretty good. Like I said, I'm sure there's adjustments I'm gonna want to make, but I think I'm good enough with this as is to be like, you know what, that's the video, we gonna post it. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for all this content I put on bring you. With all that being said, it's pretty much off today. Remember, nothing can happen to you swinging the bat. Later.